this is the last talk of the session, so I think we will take questions all together.
Yes. So thank you, Pallavi. We have some time for questions. So are there questions online already?
Not yet.
Okay. What about here in the room? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question is from Pallavi. You have shown the monthly statistics. So have you analyzed on the hourly or daily scales the
For the validation.
statistics? Yeah.
Yeah. So we have just shown the monthly statistics here in interest of time. But yes, we do daily validation every day. It's almost operational, near real time. We do the daily validation, and with the hourly and 4-hourly products also we do the validation.
So is there any difference between monthly and hourly status?
Yeah. So it depends. Like as you go from hourly to daily, the matchup difference, time difference, that may increase. So for hourly, it's time difference between the satellite and in situ. It's better match than the daily product. So yes, there are small differences, but that get average when you go more and more daily or monthly statistics. Yes.
My another question is how much data you are losing when you use the best quality, that means quality flag 5 you are using, and you have shown the results for quality flag 3 also.
Yeah.
So when you use 5, so how much data you are losing?
So with the CCI climatology and the results I have shown, that's from the version 2. So it's really stringent. We get really good data that's kept. And with the CCI version 3, we are now adding more data. So we still have to validate the new data and see how much different validation will be there now. But yeah. There is no quality level 4, and majority of the data is quality level 5.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have another questions here in the room.
Yeah, I also want to ask with you, in your optimum interpolation implementation, how you take care of the nonlinear observation operator as a RT model?
That's question for John, I think.
No,
John
this question is for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, because I am using the John and Owen's method, so I was thinking if they are there, that's the question.
Okay.
So sorry, what was your question? I will ask if Owen is not there.
So because you are considering the observation operator as a RT model, which is nonlinear. So how you consider the nonlinear operator in the linear optimum interpolation?
Hi, this is Owen. So in our retrieval, that slide. So all the nonlinear part is taken care of in RTTOV, and we assume that the prior is sufficiently close that you just need a linear adjustment from the prior. So in the infrared, that's a valid approximation, and we only need a single iteration to get to the retrieval. If you were to try it in the microwave, then that wouldn't work because you'd need several iterations because it is non-linear there.
I can see it. There is a hand online, but I can see who is.
It is William, and then we got Christopher Merchant. So William Skirving can go first.
Okay, my question is for Daniel. Back in the 90s, there was a big push for using feature tracking to derive currents. It sort of went out of fashion, but it was actually working quite well. And people such as Ian Barton had came up with really neat techniques that worked so well, even on unrectified data. So my question to you is, maybe you, well, it's almost a comment, maybe you should consider having a look at that. That could be yet another input that could help train your AI. It's just a thought, that's all.
Thanks, William. If I understood correctly, maybe you are referring to exercises like maximum cross correlation, in which you can derive currents taking into account the displacement of SST features in time. Did I understand?
Yes, that's pretty much it. Yes, it was about in the mid to late 90s. It was a really big thing because we didn't have a hell of a lot of other fancy satellites, but it was actually working really well. And I wonder whether or not that's another source of information for you to help train your models. That's all.
It might be. In the past, using other approaches, we tried to do, let's say, a similar reconstruction exercise. There is maybe one main limitation in this type of approaches, in which basically you consider SST as to be mainly modulated by the currents advection, which is an assumption that we also have to do at some point in one of our in one of our steps to reconstruct the ocean currents. But I believe we need to go a little step forward and also taking into account interactions with atmosphere and also interaction with the ocean interior. So to not only focus on the displacement of features, but try also to take into account the forcing term that modulate the SST evolution that you can see from satellite observations. We did it in the past, trying to estimate this forcing term directly from satellite observations. This is somehow done also in this type of reconstruction because we just focus on the smaller scales when we train our neural network. So I believe that somehow your suggestion is really valuable and at some point already taken into account in our network. I hope this answers the question.
Yes, no, that was a good answer. And don't forget too that ocean color is yet another set of features that track very well as well, especially with the higher resolution satellites that we have nowadays.
True. We try to exploit also ocean colors in the context of an ESA-funded project at CNR. We performed an observing system simulation experiment, as shown previously. Let's say a similar approach. The main limitation when we used ocean color was a quite bad representation of the gradients, at least in the level 4 products for which our reconstruction is, let's say, optimized. So it is essentially a good point. We were also thinking about multivariate synergy, so taking into account simultaneously SST and ocean color. We saw that already for SST we can have issues sometimes in the representation of gradients. For ocean color, at least in the Mediterranean Sea, we saw that this gradient representation can be a bit more critical, at least in the level 4 operational products. But this is certainly something to exploit, especially the multivariate reconstruction, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember a lot of the same sorts of problems back in the 90s. I would suggest that you go hunting for some literature around that time. You might be surprised. You might be working on trying to reinvent the wheel. Just a comment.
Contact me and also provide specific references. So take a look.
I'll provide you with a few names, but I'd have to go hunt for them just as much as you would. It wasn't my mainstream. Actually, I know Peter Manette is online. He may well know more about it than I do.
I remember very well the paper from Bowen in 2002 that I cited previously regarding maximum cross-correlation, and another that appeared recently in the early 2000s based on geostationary observation from the GOSI sensor for ocean color. But other inputs are really welcome. Thank you.
No problems. Thanks.
Claudia, we got Christopher in a line here with a hand raised.
Go ahead.
Thank you. If I may, I've got a couple of questions which are not specifically to any of the speakers, but are more to us as a GRIS community. First of all, in response to Ed's question to Owen, as Owen said, we'd love to be processing MODIS and VIIRS in future in ESA-CCI, and this was behind my question to Shakila yesterday, that I think the move to various cloud formats in more than one continent does allow interagency cooperation in new ways, essentially bringing processing to data sets rather than the other way around, which can be more efficient and I think is certainly something to look at. And so I'm just asking the GRIS community as a whole as to whether this is something we should be thinking about a bit more and advocating to our agencies to think about how that sort of cooperation in the cloud could be done more in future. And I'm sure Ed is in line with that sort of comment as well. I suspect that was why he asked the question. And then the second question I'd like to throw out, we saw yesterday in Masako's talk, again in Jakub's talk today, and also in Owen's talk, that we're seeing very remarkable sea surface temperature anomalies this year in particular in various places around the world. And these are not only driven by the coming El Nino, there's clearly more going on than that. And of course, we're documenting that as a community, but should we be doing something that, you know, beyond that somewhat as a community, since we're observing the oceans and their temperatures intently? I feel a little bit uncomfortable these days just doing this science and not making more public statements about what's going on in terms of global warming. So I'd like to throw that out for people to think about during this conference as well. I hope that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
There is one question online. That's for me. Why are there regions in the Himawari hourly field you showed which do not appear to have data in the per-hourly composite? And that question is from Peter Holman.
Yes,
and,
Peter, are you online? No, okay, no, let's answer.
But anyway, I'll just ask.
I'm online. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
Maybe you can.
Yeah.
You wanted to ask the question yourself.
Right. So if you look at the image that shows the, there were three composites. There was the 1 hourly, 4 hourly, and daily. There were regions in the 4 hourly field that did not have results, while the regions in 1 hourly field, the same locations, did have results. I was wondering what the 4 hourly composite really was.
That's a nice catch. It's not exactly the same data. We got hourly and 4 hourly same. That's random pickup. So that's why they are from different times.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Alavi, you need to use the other microphone, the one that you have in your hands. Probably that one is working. Try to use. Yeah. Try again.
Yeah. So I was saying that was a nice catch, and that hourly and per hourly not from the same time step. They are from different time steps. That's why there is a difference.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris, you still have your hands up. I don't know if from before. Maybe yes. Okay. So there is a question in the room. Anne?
Yeah, just a couple of questions and comments. Just to pick up on Chris's point there. Yeah, totally agree on both points. I think that's something that we can discuss within the agencies and the connections within the clouds. On the point on public communications with the SST trends and anomalies, yes, absolutely, totally agree. And I think this is why we've put together the extra session on Thursday to start talking about this. I think it is challenging, obviously, because we need to base these communications properly on, you know, work that's done. So I think we need perhaps to put together a small team of relevant experts within GRIST so that we can coordinate a little bit better and advise the GPO on what these statements should be. But yeah, totally agree on that one. And I also have a question for Chongjia. I really liked your presentation. Thank you for that. It was really, really nice. Kind of the philosophy, warm skins. I think, you know, we've talked about these as a concept for a while, but it's nice to see some investigation and sort of evidence on that. And I'm sorry we sort of skipped the end of your presentation, so I just wondered if you wanted to just summarize some of your next steps and recommendations on those.
Okay, so I think the next step should be, as I presented in the future work, I think we should establish some, you know, the warm skin model, because actually in my publication, I shown that the current cool skin model might not well represent or well model the magnitude of the warm skin, and also maybe some also there are some, you know, the missing physical process we don't know behind the warm skin different from the cool skin effect. So I think it's very necessary to generate some specific warm skin model, and to instead of the current cool skin model.
Thank you, Tong. We have another question here in the room. Yeah, the microphone is behind you.
So my question is to Daniel. So the framework that you have shown for, essentially it is a neural CNN-based downscaling scheme, right? So your input data is, let's say for ADT is at 25 kilometer resolution. So first of all, I would like to know what is the best resolution you can downscale to?
Yes, for this we should perform a specific spectral analysis.
Yep.
With similar approaches in the past, with very high quality SST data. So when you are sure that your SST has been acquired in cloud-free conditions, and then the features are very reliable, we could come down to an effective solution of around kilometers. But this was in the Mediterranean Sea, and this was based on a, let's say, regional altimetry product, which is distributed at a nominal resolution of 1/8 of a degree. Okay. But although is certainly slightly larger, but according to spectral analysis, that was our best result, let's say, in the Mediterranean area.
All right. So when you say the features in the SST, you're looking at the fronts.
Basically, we look at gradients. So basically, this methodology, but also other methodologies that we saw in the past, are extract features, which can be thought as also as gradients.
Did you look at the evolution, time evolution also of those features in your model? I mean, have you taken care of that using the altimetry currents?
Somehow with this approach we can do it, because taking into account the entire time series, although for the moment we are training our network based on only 1 year data.
Okay.
We can provide constraints to both sea surface temperature and ADT to improve. So, but I have to say honestly, this approach works with features, but doesn't really take into account the evolution in time, because let's say the samples are provided all at once. But somehow the temporal information is given as a predictor to the network when we introduce the SST temporal variability. Because the aim is to mimic the equation the advection equation of sea surface temperature.
Right, right. Okay, we'll have more discussions in detail. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Claudia, there are a few questions in online from Peter and from Haifeng.
Okay. You can go maybe the last two because it's...
Yes, last two, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry that I was typing my questions into the chat. I was lying in bed with my partner sound asleep next to me and I didn't want to wake her up, but I've moved to another room now. So my question is for Owen. Do you process or plan to process pre-2000 1 kilometer AVHR data where it's available, or only the GAC data for that period?
Currently, we only process the GAC data from the NOAA sensors. Again, we'd like to process the 1 kilometer blackened HRPT, but we just don't have the time to download it, convert it into the right format and process it. So that's on a wish list still.
Understood. And if it was in the right format, would you have the capability to process it?
Maybe. I can't say for certain. I'd have to see the data. There would be additional issues in the way we do the radiance calibration, and that effectively wants a full output of data. So we'd have to do something where we'd read the calibration data from the GAC and then apply it to the lower level.
Thank you.
Okay, the other questions?
Hey, thanks, Chiara. It's just a very quick comment to Anne's question for the future of warm skin signals. I'm not sure if Chongjia has covered this already, but if I remember correctly, the very popular Faro 1996 cool skin model does not allow warm skin signals. So I think that can be a future direction if we want to work on this like deeper. Just a quick comment on that. Thanks.
Okay, so very, very quick.
Okay. Peter, since you're online, I'm not sure if you're aware of all the work that's been happening in Australia around HIPT, AVHR raw data rescue. That's by Edward King at CSIRO. I think he might have been talking to you a few years ago about that, but he's still doing it. And he's managed to extract all this raw data off various tapes and various cupboards and under beds and everywhere, and going back to the mid-1980s, I think, is that right, Pallavi? So he, you know, if anybody wants to find out about very long time series of raw level 0, level 1 HIPT, AVHR, Edward King at CSIRO. He's passionate about it. It's his hobby, his private project, and it's something that is being mined. He sent the raw data off to a team in the UK who are using it for over the land, I think. It's not for SST at any rate.
Okay. So I think we can finish this session. Yeah, let's thank all the speakers again.